Today, we're going to uncover a fascinating and frankly, really powerful feature that's hidden deep inside the structure of Mandarin Chinese. It's a kind of secret advantage that makes learning new things surprisingly intuitive. So let's dive right in. We're not going to start with some dry linguistic theory. Instead, let's start with a simple puzzle about a common object you've probably seen 1,000 times. All right, I'm going to ask you directly. Do you really know what a radiator does? I mean, think about it. We all know it has something to do with temperature, right? But the word itself, radiator, it doesn't really give you any clues. Okay, now look at this. The Chinese word for radiator literally translates to disperse heat device. And boom, just like that, it's crystal clear, isn't it? The object's entire purpose is just baked right into its name. This one example, it's the key to this whole thing. And that little aha moment perfectly illustrates the core idea we're exploring today. The biggest advantage of Mandarin Chinese is its simple, transparent, and incredibly logical way of building words. And this isn't some happy accident. It's fundamental to how the language is built. So, how does this actually work? Well, the best way to think about it is like building with Lego. But instead of plastic bricks, you're using ideas. The key idea here is something linguists call a morpheme. It's just a fancy word for the shortest possible unit of an idea. In Chinese, every single character is a morpheme, so don't think of them as just letters. Think of them as individual building blocks, each one carrying its own specific meaning. And the process is just brilliant. To make a new word, you just stack these idea blocks together. So you take the character for electric and you add the character for brain, and what do you get? Electric brain, the word for computer. It's just completely logical. And you see this pattern everywhere. You take fly and add machine, you get airplane. You take days and add record, and you get calendar. See how it works? Once you learn the basic building blocks, you can start to figure out new combinations almost intuitively. So you've got to be asking, why is this so clear and easy in Chinese when it can feel so, well, random in English? The answer is all about where the words come from, their roots. For the most part, Chinese has stayed linguistically pure. Its new words are almost always built from existing Chinese pieces. English, on the other hand, is this wonderful mutt of a language. We've borrowed words from French, Latin, Greek, German, you name it. And the result is that the roots of so many English words are totally foreign to most of us. This is a perfect example. Let's take the word narwhal. Turns out it comes from an Old Norse word that means corpse whale. I mean, how many of us speak Old Norse, right? But in Chinese, it's single horn whale. One is this obscure historical factoid, and the other is a direct, accurate description. You hear that and you instantly know what it is. And this advantage isn't just for naming cool animals or household objects. It actually scales up and makes even really complex scientific and technical terms incredibly easy to understand. The creator of our source material actually shared this great little story. He was reading a science book in Chinese, and he stumbled on 3 words he didn't know. So he looked them up, and it turns out he didn't know the English words for them either. And what's really fascinating is this comparison right here. Look at these complex English scientific terms. Lignite, bituminous, anthracite. You just have to memorize those, right? But their Chinese versions are totally descriptive. Brown coal, smoke coal, and non-smoke coal. And here's the kicker. Check out that last column. Those literal Chinese translations are basically identical to the informal nicknames we have to make up in English just so we can remember what they are. Okay, let's zoom out for a second and think about the really big picture here. What does all this mean for learning and education on a massive scale? Look at this number, 15. That's it.
That's it. That is the total number of unique characters you need to learn to say every single number in Mandarin Chinese, from 1 to a billion and beyond. Just 15.
It's such a powerful and simple example of this efficiency.
And this isn't just some fun trivia. There's real research that suggests this more logical, more consistent number system might actually help kids who speak Chinese grasp fundamental math concepts earlier than kids who speak other languages. And all of this leads to a pretty wild and provocative question. We usually think about a difficult language as being hard for foreigners, right? But what if an unintuitive language is actually a bad language for its own native speakers? This is what our source material calls the bottleneck effect. The idea is that if a language is confusing or unintuitive, it acts like a traffic jam for learning. It just takes more time and brain power for a kid to learn the basics of reading, science, and math. This creates a kind of hidden cost, where it takes more effort to get to the same level of understanding. Now, of course, every single language out there has its own unique strengths and quirks. But diving deep into Mandarin like this really forces us to look at our own languages in a new light. And it leaves us with one final thought to chew on. What hidden advantages, or hidden costs, are built right into the structure of the language that you speak every single day?